Alright guys, so Record of Ragnarok chapter 102, we got it. Heavy backstory chapter for Simo. Talked about this in the preview predictions, but we do have some real-time action near the end of the chapter, so stay tuned all the way to the end. Before that though, make sure you subscribe to this channel if you love the Record of Ragnarok content, want to stay up to date. Also drop a like on the video, it helps it out with the algorithm. And of course, shout out to the two members, Adam, and Prophet, for supporting the channel. Without further ado, let's roll. December 1939, on a battlefield near Lake Ladoga in southeastern Finland, an eternal legend in the history of human warfare was born. It is called the Miracle of Kala. Tragedy and legend engraved in history. The one who brought about said miracle was just a single sniper. Now, as this is stated, we see this montage of beautiful scenery, but of soldiers marching, triggers being pulled, and Simo lurking in the damn forest, in the trees, hunting people down as he says the word 137. He was dropping bodies. November 30th, 1939, the Soviet Union abruptly and unilaterally invaded Finland, a massive army approximately 1 million soldiers strong. They began advancing primarily through 4 routes. Against the overwhelming force of approximately 1 million Soviet soldiers, the Finnish army could only muster around 235,000 men. This group was largely composed of farmers and hunters, gathered for the defense of the country. They were less than a third of the invading Soviet numbers. They show us the 4 routes, they give us a little map, and they show some of these soldiers. This is what the world would know later as the Winter War. Now, it could be a translation issue there, but it says the Winter War. We see the perspective of one soldier. He says, "Oh God, what the hell?" That massive army is marching straight for us. This guy has binoculars. He's looking. He sees the Soviets marching toward them. At the Kala River defense line, the Soviet army deployed 4,000 troops for the invasion. In contrast, records indicate that the Finnish army's deployment along the defense line consisted of merely 32 men. The defeat of the defensive line was thought to be only a matter of time. However, Finland had this man. We see some more of the Finnish soldiers talking here, and they say, "To hold this position against so many enemies, it's impossible. We don't have a choice. We must abandon the defense line and retreat." At that moment, we see Soviets getting gunned down. No one can believe it, but Simo's already perched on a branch in the trees, ready for war. The course of the war changed completely, all due to a localized battle at the small defensive line. Simo said the words 134, took down another, said 135, took down another, said 136, and finally took down one last man and said 137. That is the shot we saw at the beginning of the chapter. Same thing here. He counts out the number of the men he slays. In a world of extreme cold reaching minus 40 degrees Celsius, he loaded his rifle with bullets, peered through his iron sight, and pulled the trigger. With each shot, an enemy soldier fell. An absolutely 100% accurate shot. So we heard this in some of the earlier chapters. He is 100% accurate. That is what they're telling us. He never missed a shot, at least in this battle. The Soviet soldiers at this point were spooked. They're saying, shouldn't the defensive line still be almost 500 meters from here? That's impossible. Are we saying we're being shot at from that distance? Another guy's about to say impossible again. He gets shot down. 138, Simo says. It's him. It's death. The White Death. We are being targeted by the White Death. They are retreating. The Soviets start running away, screaming in fear. The terror and confusion among the Soviet soldiers spread as the Reaper's sight was swung toward their comrades one after another. The Soviets are retreating. "We did it," says the Finnish soldiers, even though they didn't really do much. It is stated in the records that the Kala River Defense Force, consisting of only 30 men, successfully halted the advance of a Soviet division comprising over 4,000 troops. That was the miracle performed by the White Death, also known as Simo Heiha. We see Simo saluting. Obviously, he didn't kill all these guys, and obviously some of these Finnish soldiers got shots off during this, but Simo was the reason they retreated. We see now the Finnish soldiers are celebrating their victory in the forest at the campfire. They're saying, "Wow, I can't believe we actually made it through to celebrate Christmas." Another replies, "I know, right? It's unbelievable. If it weren't for Simo, it's highly likely that we would have been completely wiped out." They all are in agreement on this. Hitting targets at that distance with no scope, there was no way. Is a feat like that really possible for a human? Another says, "I take around 100 shots just to hit something." The next guy jokes him and says, "You mean 1,000 shots, right?" So they're talking about how they're nowhere near as accurate as Simo. A soldier says, "I just want to drive the Soviet forces back as soon as possible and see my family." Another says, yeah, I would give anything for my mother's warm soup right now. I just want to go home alive. Finally, another one says, it's all right. As long as Simo is here, our victory is assured. So this is just meant to highlight how much faith they have in Simo, how much they need Simo. And Simo knows all this. All the soldiers at this point, they have high morale. They're screaming out together, that's right, let's protect our fatherland alongside Simo. Everybody's in agreement. They say yes. Simo Heiha was a hero who significantly boosted the morale of the Finnish soldiers. No, he had become their guardian deity. By the way, where is Simo? One of them says. What happened to the MVP? The other guy replies, he went to bed early, since we have things to do tomorrow. That's Simo for you. That cool attitude of his is what makes him so awesome. I really do look up to him. Alright, let's follow his example and get some good rest too. But who could have known the truth, says the narrator. Simo is actually sitting in his tent, wide awake, remembering and recalling all the people he's killed. You see him calling out 129, 130, 131, 132, 133, and it is crazy. He is shook. No mask here. First time we're seeing Simo without the mask. No mask. He is terrified. His eyes are white. They look bloodshot. He says 134, 135, 136, 137. And it's all going through his mind what he had done. From the moment he shot down his first kill, there wasn't a single night where Simo could sleep peacefully. He continues on. He goes to 138. When he thinks of 138, he thinks of the locket that was on the guy's chest where it showed his wife and his kid. So he's thinking about the families that are being torn apart by his actions. He says, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I am sorry. I am sorry. I am sorry. He thinks about all this. He has great remorse. He feels terrible, but he has to do it, obviously, for the war. But this has taken a toll on him. To avoid demoralizing his comrades, behind his desperate facade of composure, with every pull of the trigger, with every bullet that pierced an enemy soldier, his heart was deeply wounded, bleeding profusely. So he didn't want to show this to the soldiers. That's why he said he was going to bed early. He could not let them see this because they could not falter. He needed them to have absolute confidence, absolute belief in him. If they saw him acting this way, they'd panic. They could all die. They all want to get home at the end of the day. Simo was truly the MVP. And then one day, March 6, 1940, 1 week before the end of the Winter War, at the Kala River front line, we set the stage. We see Soviets being gunned down once more. They're saying, where did that shot come from? It's death. And we see Simo once again perched up, taking shots. This time he says 540. He's up to 540 kills. He is shooting men down. He's now at 541. Around this time, his confirmed kills surpassed 540. Then the incident occurred. The Soviets are saying, shit, where's death? You idiot, don't pop your head up. And Simo takes another shot, boom, knocks another one down, 542. This man is dropped, right? But as he's getting shot, he pulls the trigger in death. The guy that Simo just took, 542. Was that a joke from the gods, says the narrator. The trigger pulled by the enemy sniper in his final moments sent a bullet flying in an unexpected direction. That bullet should never have hit its mark. However, the tragic fate pierced the Reaper, and we see what happens here as the shot actually hits a tree, ricochets off a tree or a rock, one of the two. It might actually just be a rock. That might make more sense. Frozen rock, potentially. It ricochets off that rock and it slams Simo in the face. So this is in line with real world history. He took a shot to the face and it left him disfigured. Here we see Simo gets hit in the face, blood spurts out everywhere. He falls to the ground. The soldiers are going crazy. Simo, Simo, Simo. Medic, where are you? Come here, fast. Amidst the chaos of his comrades and of that excruciating pain, what Simo felt was salvation. He thought to himself, this isn't enough. I don't expect to be forgiven for this alone. But even so, I feel just a little saved, right? So he almost felt like he deserved to be shot. That pain and harm was his atonement. His penance for what he had done, his kills. Simo Heiha's war came to an end that day. His official sniper kill count stood at 542, the highest in human history. The strongest sniper in human history, unmatched in his marksmanship, was also the man with the kindest heart. That is his backstory, right? Setting the stage that he hates killing. It takes a massive toll on him to do so. And it lets us know why he has this ability where, he's going to use these shots that are going to legitimately harm himself, because it's a representation of how it felt every time he killed somebody when he lived his life as a human. We now cut back to present day, as I told you we would. We see the landscape. Simo says Moxa, which means liver. Reaper's contract. We saw him preparing for this shot at the end of last chapter, and now we see it in reality. He loads up the bullet. We see his Valkyrie taking damage once more. Her face is cracked even more. She says loading is complete. Confirms what I was saying, that this is how it works, because obviously the Vlun should just be the gun, but she's basically loading up his own body, right? Because his own body is merged with her. You get the gist. Their souls are merged, obviously, though, so she's taking heavy damage as well. He loads it up. Loki, at this point, hiding behind a tree, is saying, I can feel it. He's aiming at me from somewhere. Go ahead and shoot then. Next time, I am sure I will find you. So Loki's plan at this point is to wait for the next shot, pinpoint the trajectory, and hunt Simo down. Simo takes the shot. The anti-god sniping technique, the swan that pierces the heavens, he takes this shot. He jumps off his perch when he shoots, or it might just be recoil. The shot makes its way directly toward Loki. Loki sees it. For a god with sharpened senses, catching up to the speed of the bullet is no big deal. The position from where he shot will not go unnoticed by me, says Loki. He at that point spawns 3 more clones, or these clones may have just been residuals, but either way, there's 3 more clones of Thor, Odin, and Hercules. They all get shot down right away. The bullet continues its path toward Loki. At this point, Loki reacts once more. He can see the bullet's trajectory. I won't let you escape again. Loki seems to know exactly where Simo was, where the shot was taken from, and he has enough time again to react, to protect himself. He uses this technique called Skull's Wall, seems to summon this massive wall to protect him. The only problem is, this shot is way too powerful for that wall. It pierces straight through the wall and straight through Loki's dome. Pierces his skull and goes straight through his head. It looks like Loki has been killed, like no bullshit. The narrator says there's nothing that cannot be pierced by the bullet that even pierces the heavens. Wow. As Simo says too, that is the chapter. Now obviously Loki is not going to be dead here. He definitely had some kind of trick up his sleeve to survive. Obviously Zeus hyped up the survivability of Loki. Even when he's outmatched, he always finds a way to survive. And from the look of things, the preview is hyping up the fact that next chapter we should be getting Loki's backstory. So 2 backstory chapters back to back, but Loki getting a backstory tells us he should still be alive, unless they're going down the road of this actually killed Loki. We're going to get a backstory behind him, you know, to kind of like send him on his way. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Loki is too hyped up to die to this, but if he did die to this, I'm sure some people would be happy. This is crazy, but I think Loki's going to come back from this. He got out of this somehow. Insane moment to say the least. And Simo's looking like he's on fire right now. Will Loki have a counterattack? Will Loki come back? You let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, if you liked the video and enjoyed it, drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.